Yes.
I started studying with Guruji in 2009. I was 16 years of age when I first went to his house in December of 2009. I wanted to sort of experience this culture of Guru Shishya Parampara, which is the culture of the student living at the Guru's house and living a lifestyle of sharing day-to-day experiences with the Guru. And I thought it was to be a very strict process. But this is where I discovered one of Guruji's most important qualities was that he was not at all a strict guru. It was very much, wake up when you want to wake up, practice when you feel like practicing, and sort of really enjoy the present moment as much as you can. His guru was Pandit Jagdish Prasad, who is a very renowned classical vocalist, one of the most foremost in the Patiala Gharana. And there's a very interesting story of how Guruji selected his guru. His father used to take him on the bicycle, and he used to sit in the back seat. And his father took him to various concerts of musicians, and he went and listened to various musicians and sort of listened to them. And when he listened to Pandit Jagdish Prasad, he immediately told his father, I want him to be my guru. And so that's how he selected Panditji. And if you listen to Pandit Jagdish Prasad's vocals, there's very much a tonal similarity between himself and Guruji.
From Baba Mama's memoirs. In the year 1973, I was made a judge of a musical competition where Guruji was singing a ghazal. I immediately realized his potential and requested the organizers to ask him to contact me. I was very impressed, not only by his musical talent, but by the fact that he was running a musical school for the poor and the downtrodden, charging them minimum fees or no fees at all. I decided to help him, and we created an organization known as Swar Madhuri, Sweet Notation, and under the umbrella of this organization, we arranged programs of eminent artists. As a result, there was very great rapport between Guruji and his musicians, and I was confident that they would be most happy to come and perform for Shri Mataji. It is proper here to mention that Shri Mataji herself was very impressed by the fact that Guruji was running a school for the poor, and she had also visited the school once during her visits to Nagpur. So I made the resolution, but I did not make it public. This, according to me, must have been the turning point in my life.
The real sort of breakthrough, if you like, came around in the 90s when Baba Mama created this, with Shri Mataji's blessings, a group called Nirmal Sangeet Sarita that basically created the soundtrack for the next decades of Sahaja Yoga, in the sense that bhajans were composed by Baba Mama in praise of the divine, in praise of Shri Mataji, and these bhajans were arranged, composed, and embellished by Guruji Dhakde.
I remember as a child, I would hear the bhajans of Nirmal Sangeet Sarita, and I would go into a state of pure devotion and thoughtless awareness.
What he did was he created these bhajans, very, very, how should we say, catchy, moving, rhythmical tunes, conveying these beautiful poetic lyrics that Baba Mama composed, but with classical embellishments. And it was very evident to us that there was a whole tradition and knowledge of classical music coming in too, which was the substratum of these amazing songs. And over the years, many people visited Nagpur in order to be educated in this extraordinary deep music.
It was a great privilege, really, to be around him, to have this close interaction with him, to see him teach and to learn myself from him.
He was rather a very gentle, peaceful, unassuming personality, a very sweet personality. And that sweetness could be definitely heard in every note of his music. And back in the 90s, in 95, we used to go to every day to his flat to learn to imbibe the music and also enjoy the atmosphere.
And so often we'd sit in silence for, sometimes hours. And in that time, I really felt his sort of, personality, not personality really, but his way of maintaining attention and sort of maintaining his energy levels so that he could carry it through the course of the day. And that was also a lesson for me, that sometimes that we just need to make sure we have time in the day where we are sitting in silence and meditating, so that we are able to maintain that energy to take across the day and then take it on to when we are practicing music. So not every single moment of the day needs to be used productively as an action, but also to sit and meditate and leave some space in silence. I think that's a very significant teaching that I've sort of learned to observe and try and carry out in my day as well.
That it was always very eager also to experiment. It wasn't just fixed on the style and the structure of Indian music. I would always be ready to experiment and be part of different kind of fusion projects.
The last years, we also were able to do some collaboration, some musical collaboration, and especially for the oratorium, he added his violin to Mother of Light. He added his violin to Victor Fortuni's Little Lamb for a Christmas edition, and he added his violin to Debbie's version of the beautiful version of Jerusalem, which was an honor for all of us, and I'm still cherishing it.
And did those feet in ancient time walk upon England's mountains green? And was the holy Lamb of God on England's pleasant pastures seen?
Was there at we performed in 2018 in Mumbai and Nirmal in the Divine Mother, which was this tribute which was dedicated to Shri Mataji. And the idea was that, you know, Shri Mataji had traveled all around the world throughout her life, and she'd, you know, the blossoms of all these seeds around the world come together and offer their fragrance artistically to her lotus feet. And he was, of course, an honored musician in that group.
The violin. So the violin was his career instrument, in which he worked at the All India Radio as a professional violinist. And he adapted the vocal training he got from his guru onto the violin, and that became his primary mode of sort of training and musical development.
Well, he would just sing it. He would just start the composition. I don't know how. It was amazing. So you see Guruji's contribution in revealing the divine dimension of music to all of us is inestimable. He was just an instrument of music. Music would flow through him. And you see, there are so many great musicians, legendary musicians in India nowadays. But all of this, you know, all his qualities made him the beautiful instrument of Shri Mataji, because Shri Mataji used him to reach out to all of us, to reach out to the hearts of the Sahaj yogis, to reach out to the hearts of the seekers. And while the pure classical music can be, less accessible to someone who's not used to it, Guruji's compositions would be classically based, but so melodious and so accessible to everyone, to all of us, the Western yogis, the Indian yogis, even to the seekers who, you know, people who have never heard Indian classical music before. So all the qualities he had, his humility, his spiritual caliber, his caliber as a musician, all of this made him such a beautiful instrument of Shri Mataji. And it is through him that we, you know, through his music, that we received that nourishment to our spiritual ascent. It is a very great thing. So it's not only that, you know, he created music. Through that, he actually nourished our spiritual ascent.
But for me, the most unique thing about Guruji was how everything he did, everything he played, whether it was in the violin or singing or harmonium, even tabla, he used to play sometimes, touched my heart. Every note, everything he did, it really touched my heart. Even if it was not something complicated, even if it was just one note he sang, it was something so deep. It was something so serene, so special, so pure. that it would literally just fill you up with so much love, and so like vibrationally was so strong every time. And this is what really attracted me, about his music.
And Mother was composing with Guruji. She was writing the words, altering the text, and it was being sung. And to, I believe, the raga, the tune was based on Bimpalasi, and it was just a magical moment. Shri Mataji was composing with her court musician, with this great musician.
The three great mantras were composed by Guruji together with Shri Mataji. So under Shri Mataji's guidance, he composed the three great mantras. And he said, Shri Mataji was telling him the words of the three great mantras, and he would sing the mantra to her, asking if this is how she feels it's best. And she would sometimes then correct him, saying, no, for this word, I would like to express this, or for that word, I want to express this. This is what I want to express. This is what I want the yogis to feel. And then he would change the melody and adapt it to what Shri Mataji wanted from the three great mantras. And he said it was a tremendous experience for him to literally compose the three great mantras with the Adi Shakti herself, And for me personally, there is no mantra higher than the three great mantras. These are the mantras of the Adi Shakti, of Shri Mataji herself. And to know that this was composed by Guruji and Shri Mataji together, and how that moment would have been, that these three great mantras, will define Sahaja Yoga forever, for eternity. These mantras will be sung for the ages to come, forever. It is such a big thing. I feel it is so amazing, and which is also why, of course, why the three great mantras have such tremendous vibrations, because they were composed under her guidance. Because everything she wanted to express, Guruji translated that into music. Of course, she did it through him, but he was the instrument.
Music would just flow through him. He would compose a song in seconds, and he was so simple and so humble, and he was basically a fatherly figure to, I think, all of us who went to learn from him.
He was also, you could say, a cosmopolitan personality who would appreciate any kind of music he would hear. And I would play him, kantele music from Finland, and he would make very, he would say about the artist I played to him that, she's a very smart artist. So he kind of appreciated, not only on a general level, but, he had very, very, precise things to say about them. And what he taught me also was also being drenched, being really exposed to the Indian music.
So it was in Santrasi when I asked Guruji, why are there so few classical recordings of you? And then he said, Andrea, did you bring your equipment? And I said, yes, Guruji.
They were doing music for Shri Mataji, and after the music, Shri Mataji was, like always, so pleased by his music. And she asked him, would you like me to cure your eyes? And he straight away answered, no, Shri Mataji, I'm fine the way I am. And Shri Mataji said, don't you want to see the world? And his reply was, Shri Mataji, I see more with my eyes closed than with my eyes open. And that pleased Shri Mataji so much, seeing his depth.
So he was born a master, and but he wouldn't weigh on other people for this role. It was just that, and a generous kind of teacher or Guruji.
We are all very fortunate to have his divine music always with us. His divine music is eternal.
A couple of notes of the alap, and already we were in Sahasrara. Already we were on this beautiful stream of feeling, of subtle feeling in connection with the spirit. He took us there in the first notes. He didn't delay it until the very climatic parts of the raga. It was there from the start, and then you just enjoyed the journey with him. And it was always absolutely divine. We could call him a divine musician. Guruji was famous. He was already a legend before he came to Kabbalah.
I don't know if many know, but Guruji was such a funny human being. He was really hilarious. He had an amazing, sense of humor. And, while staying with him in Nagpur, you really get to see many aspects of him, because on the stage you only see one aspect of Guruji, which is the musician. But as a human being, I feel there is also so much to learn from him. It's so not just his music, the right timing for the right notes, he has that in his jokes as well. So he's always someone who lightens up the room with his humor, with his jokes, and with his sweet comments.
A perfectly joyful and serene and connected person there who emanated that kind of atmosphere inside him, even before he would take his violin and play. So that kind of joy was always there, that coolness, that freshness, and all that he was creating around. It was always very joyful.
I'm really eternally grateful for Guruji, for opening up that world for me.
He would have this sense of humor, and he would be so encouraging to everyone. And this happened every year in 2008, 2009, and 2010.
His sweetness as a personality, as a musician, will live in my heart, and I hope to imbibe some of it in every note that I'm playing. Shri Mataji.
Today we all are missing him. So I request his soul to take rest at the lotus feet of Shri Mataji. Jai Shri Mataji.
His legacy will remain forever and will be the lighthouse that guides us towards the divine in our music as artists. He was at the helm of this ship that carried the essence, the tradition, the culture, the deep culture of Indian music to all the shores around the world.
An artist, but also part of the family. They've always been part of the family.
Of course, since I know Sahaj music, Guruji has been probably like the highest musician, in my opinion, that has ever been.
Most of all, he was Shri Mataji's musician.
understood.